camera work with me here. There we go. Alrighty. Give people a second to get in here. I am chilling out in the garage and something in my mouth. Gnat. Oh man. A little impromptu live stream. I am sitting out in the garage right now and just kind of hanging out, puttering around on the car, cleaning up in the workshop and everything. And I realize I don't have the chat up. Let's go ahead and show the live chat. There we go. And got y'all on the tripod. Got the mini in the screen here. It's a better background, I think, than my wall right now. So what is going on, everybody? Laser Bacon Cruiser, it's midnight and I was just about to hit the hay. Guess I'm gonna be up for a little while yet. Yeah, I just decided to do kind of an impromptu live stream. We got our formal Let's Talk Shit live stream that we do. Paul over at HRE and I have started doing. That's definitely still happening. But I kind of ran into some roadblocks with the mini, so I don't have a lot of stuff I can do right now. So I thought I might just give you guys a little shop tour and shop update. And then also kind of show you guys what's happening with the mini right now. So let's start off with that. I'm gonna flip the camera around so you guys get a better look. And let's go for a walk. So it's been a little while since we have done a turbo update. I don't even know if I have posted the video of me putting the engine in the car. So surprise, yeah, that's coming soon. And I've been mocking stuff up, you know. I'm working with the car kitchen to get, well, I worked with Fusion Fabrications. They did a whole side mount turbo manifold that's going to be coming very soon. And then I worked with the car kitchen and am currently working with the car kitchen to do a front mount intercooler here. That should be pretty cool. No pun intended. And then I'm just kind of mocking up a lot of the electronics here. The mount for the coil pack was a little off. And this is one of the turbo ERA plenums that was on the mini ERA. I'm probably not going to be running that, but I got it just in case if I have any fitment issues, things like that. But it's helping me mock things up too, which is nice. But yeah, things are really starting to come together. It's looking more like a car again. It's got a shifter again, which is nice, so I can pretend like I can drive it. Yeah, mini being mini. And of course, the workshop has really come together. It's almost all finished, put away and everything. Oh, look, HRE himself. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. You're up late. It's what, like almost midnight there too? Crazy. So thank you for joining. I ran airlines throughout the whole shop, so I've got hard airlines. I don't have the compressor yet, but it's run up, goes above the garage door over here. Still need to tack it up there. But then I added a kind of like pull down hose reel thing. So that actually reaches to every single spot in the shop, which is really cool. A tire rack here. And then, yeah, the workshop over here. Yeah, I did see, oh, missed the chat there. A few folks saying hi, hello. Patrick says that I see you have the garage door now. Yeah, let me set up this tripod. I'm gonna show you guys something. United States asks, where are you located? I'm located in the United States. Let's see. There we go. I'm gonna shut this garage door and you guys get to experience how loud it is. It's amazing. You ready? And that is a shut garage door. How crazy is that? So quiet. And it's all thanks to, I'm gonna switch the camera around here again, bear with me. It is all thanks to this side mount garage door opener. Absolutely wild, wild. And the windows are amazing. I was really skeptical because I actually didn't put any windows in here, kind of on purpose, and added those windows. My wife and I picked out this door. We were pretty picky. Both of us were. We really wanted something, really nice. And so waited and waited and waited. It took a long time to get the door in, but it was definitely worth the wait. As Paul says there, it was 100% worth the wait. United States asks, where can I get an original Mini? There are a few good classifieds. If you are in the United States, if your name indicates where you are, you can check out the Mini Mania classified section. They have a great selection of minis. It's a good place to buy project ones. Bring a trailer. You're going to be kind of spending a little bit more on bring a trailer, but they do pop up from time to time. So that's nice. And then just Craigslist, local classifieds, eBay Motors. There's options. You just gotta take your time, try and figure out exactly what you want, and then that'll help you find what you're looking for. Paul Wright says, when I close my garage door, my neighbors 3 streets away can hear it rattling down. Yeah, I didn't realize how much I wanted a quiet garage door until they came out and were like, do you want a garage door with the side mount motor or the one that's like, right above it? And I want to show you guys this. So point this up here. You can see my awesome flags, but the rails here and the other one over there, both of those are so close to the ceiling. So I only lose like maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches in total height of the space. Actually, it's probably more than 2 inches. Might be 3 inches, maybe 4. But anyway, I don't lose a lot of height. So long term, I'm gonna be able to do something like put maybe a mid-rise lift in here, and the lift will be able to lift up a car even with the garage door open, and I'll still be able to, open and close the door and get under the car. It's gonna be pretty cool. That's long-term stuff though. United States says, wife and I are wanting a Mini. We love tiny cars. Yeah, they are awesome. They have, their own set of complications and stuff like any classic car does, but they're wonderful cars. They are really fun. All the stuff that you can, that might break on them or you have to repair on them is pretty straightforward. Nothing too complex on them. Even in the later ones when they start to get fuel injection and stuff like that. So, what else is everybody doing? It's 7:30. It means it's in the morning time in Australia, so I might be catching some of you. I don't know, you might be going to work. And then evening time in Europe and afternoon, evening time here in the US. United States is over in Texas. I have a viewer that, or rather I have a patron that just purchased my mystery engine that I built. He drove over here from Dallas, Texas to pick up the engine, did it over the weekend, this last weekend, and then drove back. Long drive. London, got another UK, 12:30. Whew, that's way past my bedtime. I definitely do not stay up very late. Richard Green says, Aussie here, should be working, but this is more entertaining. Yeah, I feel that. I did not want to work today, which I guess is your yesterday. Man, I did, but I was like, all I wanted to do was get out here. But then I get out here and I can't do anything because, well, waiting for parts and stuff. So is what it is, I suppose. Wichita Falls, Texas. I have not been there before. I have, let's see. I don't know that I've ever really visited Texas truly. You know, I've had stopovers on my way to like Arizona and then Portland and things like that, but I've not been like out into Texas. It's somewhere I want to visit for sure. Lone Star Mini, hey Randy, it's good to have you over here. You asked me a question the other day about gear stampings, and seeing your name has reminded me that I did not answer your question, and I'm sorry about that. Let me just check over in my toolbox here and see if I have any gears. I don't know that I have any gears right now. Yeah, unfortunately, Randy, I do not have any gears, but the stampings that on those gears usually is that if there is a stamping on them, you can find it on the ends of the gear. So like your leg gear, if once that comes out, if it's not on the like main cylinder of the gear, sometimes it's on the outside of the gear. So if you hold the gear facing it one way or the other, might have some stampings on there. Otherwise, the gear sets that are in these various minis, you kind of need to figure out what mini you had, what it came out of, and then count the teeth, count the gears, rather the teeth on the gears, and then use that, do a little bit of research. I don't know all of them off the top of my head. I'm not a gear ratio expert. I would not describe myself as a gear expert either, but hopefully that helps a little bit. Let's see here. Just Stevie is watching in England. I always say that name wrong. Is it Leicester? You're gonna have to help me out there. I don't remember how to pronounce that one. People always give me crap about it too, so I always feel like I'm gonna say it wrong. Kevin Shales, hello, welcome. Leicester. See, I always say it wrong. I say it because there is a town here in North Carolina just up the street from me. Well, not really just up the street, but called Lancaster. And then that is kind of where I get mixed up, and then I always end up saying it wrong. So Leicester. Cue the next live stream. Someone's gonna ask me how to pronounce that, and I think I probably am gonna get it right this time. We'll see. I don't know if I've showed you guys. Yeah, I did a video already on it. I do have some cool parts that I want to show you though. So I haven't done a video on this yet, but I'm working with a company who you might know if you watch Mighty Car Mods, called Go Fast Bits. They make various turbo things for turbo cars. I'm dropping stuff. And they have sent me over this really cool hybrid blow-off valve. So I've got two things from them. One is a little boost controller right here. Pretty cool little thing here. I think they call it the atomic boost controller. Pick up what I dropped. And this right here has a adjustment screw in it, and you use this to adjust how much boost you're delivering to your turbo, or from your turbo to your engine. Very excited about that. So that's one little cool thing that they sent. And then this is the really, really cool thing. So there is something that they offer called a hybrid blow-off valve. Now, right now I have it in a full blow-off valve configuration, but there is a tube here, a little takeoff like this one right here, and you install it right here, and you can transition this to be either a blow-off valve or a diverter valve. It's pretty cool. So you can adjust basically how much noise your blow-off valve is making. With mine open like this, it's just gonna make that psh, that big loud noise that you expect from a turbo. But if you don't want that, or you want maybe just a little bit of that, you can plug this in here on this side and then adjust it so it's about halfway open, and then divert some of that blow off into your exhaust, which is what most modern cars do, and then a little bit out of your blow off valve. Really, really cool. I cannot wait to do a video on this, because it means when we're doing that, if once we get to the point where we are installing a blow off valve, it means we're really close to running the car. So very excited about that. Watching from Malaysia, 7:30 a.m. Sounds like you're an early riser like me. I usually up in the morning, like right about, without an alarm anymore. Ever since I passed 30, it's been like no alarm, 7:45, 7 o'clock, I'm just up. I usually try and like chill in bed for a little bit, but man, just can't seem to stay asleep these days. Too many cool things going on. Lone Star Mini, for the times that you remove your motor, have you a cool overhead winch that moved forward, aft, or sideways, a nice addition to your beautiful shop. It would be really, really cool, I agree, to have like an overhead winch. However, just point you guys up here. This ceiling is definitely just drywall, and above it is a very, very basic truss system, truss and joists and other house things. Unfortunately, it's not strong enough to be like an engine hoist. So I'd have to put like I-beams up here and a gantry or something. And at that point, I'll probably just put in a lift. And then that can be my winch, basically. Kevin Shale says, the garage is looking amazing. Great job. Thank you. I'm super excited about it. It was definitely a collaboration, like a collaborative effort between me, my wife, and of course my contractor. I did not do the majority of the work myself on this. It was outside of my skill level, and I wanted it to turn out really nice. And if I did it, probably wouldn't turned out quite as nice as it did. So I did the easy stuff, like I put insulation in the walls and kind of worked with my wife. She helped me kind of lay things out and pick some of the decoration. And then, of course, she has her workshop space here. I have mine that's behind you guys. But yeah, appreciate that. United States says, do you think a Mini would be a good everyday driver? I've received this question a few times. It depends on the kind of person that you are. If you are someone who wants to kind of get in a car, expect it to run, expect it to work properly every single time and not require a little bit of work, Mini's probably not for you on a daily driver, kind of that basis. But if you are willing to spend a little bit of time working on the car, tinkering, doing a little bit more preventative maintenance, that kind of stuff, then a Mini is, I would say, more realistic. So for a long time, I've never had only my Mini, but I did daily drive this Mini for a long, long time. Always had a backup car, a modern car that was a backup. But it's pretty reliable as long as you take care of it. And the thing about Minis, and the thing in general about them, is that if you focus on that preventative maintenance and use them, they tend to last longer. It's kind of counterintuitive, but when they sit, that's where they usually start to get a lot of the decay. So, a Mini that's driven every day is going to be a happier Mini than one that just sits in the garage for 6-8 months at a time, like mine is right now. Laser Bacon Cruiser, hello again. How would you go about making fogs dimmer? I want to have it so that I can use them as fogs or dim them without blinding them. There might be high amperage like rheostats that you could use. A rheostat is basically just a dial gauge that adjusts the amount of voltage or amperage that's being sent to it. I don't remember exactly. I think it's voltage. No, I think it's amperage. Anyway, you adjust this dial and you could choose to, assuming that the bulbs themselves can handle being dimmed, then you can kind of adjust that and dial as long as the circuit that rheostat is on can handle that additional power draw. Like these 4 are halogen bulbs and they draw a ton of power when they're on. And so you kind of, it'd be some experimentation. I think you'd have to do a little bit of research on that, but some sort of dial or voltage adjustment would probably work out pretty well for you. Devin, hey from North Simony. Hey, it's good to see you. Thank you for replying to me today. I appreciate that. My door, I'm gonna show you since we got a live stream going. My door pockets, I have the, I have Mark 1 door pockets, obviously, and those, I have the door pocket inserts from Optimize Automotive, but for whatever reason, my doors kind of billow out here, and I was kind of wondering if something right there might actually go, well to kind of hold it in place. Could be nice. Yeah, I don't know. Oh. Walking back over to my super comfy seat over here. Hellostorm98 says, just joined, would you keep the carb or injection still on the table? So my plans now, so I'm in progress on the turbo build right now, but it is going to be electric ignition, so ECU managed ignition, but the ECU doesn't manage any of the fueling, nothing like that. So it's still using a carburetor. And for right now, I'm gonna stick with the carb because it is tested, tried and true. Not that injection really isn't, but there's been a lot of work done with the carbureted turbo setups. So I'm kind of walking down ground that's already been walked down. So it's easier for me to kind of get running and working. I'm not against moving to ignition at some point. That'd be much later down the road. I really, really want my car back on the road. It's been a long time since it's been, reliably on the road. But the injection piece, everything is set up for injection. I've got the SPI tank, I've got the SPI pump, fuel return and feed. Really the only thing I would need now is a new ECU, one that can handle the fuel injection, and then a throttle body with injectors. So future plans, that could be a tweak later on down the road, I think. United States says, is it easy to still get parts for? Yes, it is actually really easy to get mini parts. Since you're in the United States, I have a long-term part sponsor. They've been sponsoring this channel for years, 7 Mini Parts. They are awesome, super, super fairly priced parts here in the US, which is nice. And they're wonderful people. So you can get them here in the US. For kind of more niche parts, things that they might not carry, you can do things like mini spares, mini sport. There's tons of companies in the UK, some in EU, lots of options for parts for sure. So the biggest caveat is that sometimes when you need parts, what makes it hard is that you have to wait a little while longer for parts. So where you might be able to drive down to Advance Auto for most of the American Muscle stuff or just any American made car. For minis, you got to order it on the line and then, wait a couple days or maybe 4 days, or lately with DHL and everything, it's been a lot of days, a lot of days. Oh yeah, Hellostorm, that's a good point. PWM module, it's a pulse width module. I think that's what the M stands for. So I think you did like an ATM machine situation right there. Anyway, they use those on computers to manage the fan speed for the internal 12-volt fans, but you could do something exactly like that. I'm sure that there's automotive grade PWM modules. PWM modules? HRE says, my 63 has little leather-covered timber buffers on both sides of the door cards where you pointed. Yeah, Norris the Mini on Instagram, who is in the chat right now, or was a moment ago, had some as well, and they look so good. So that might be a little future DIY project for me. Hellostorm says, yeah, I've seen you struggle with the Holly Sniper or something. Yes. Definitely, that was a challenging road. Talked about that a lot at length. I would say, but that was also a very unusual use case for that Holly setup. So maybe that Holly would have worked fine on a standard, setup. It was specifically made to be a downdraft injection system, not a side mount. So we're kind of using it in an unorthodox way, but I won't poop on them too much. Yeah, Devin says, downside of living in Canada, shipping for parts hurts. The struggle is real. Yeah, it's been, I don't know what it's like there, but it's been a lot rougher than it used to be here. They have really cracked down on like import duties and things like that. And it's like, I get that there are taxes and fees and stuff, but we're mostly just like individual folks ordering these things, and you order anything that's like over $150, which when you're placing an order for mini parts, you're probably going to be ordering a good bit of them at a time, and then they get held at the border, and then they call you and they're like, yeah, we actually need $50 in taxes and duties. I'm like, come on, y'all, like it's like a third of the price. Killing me. pulse width modulation module. That makes sense. I was close. I was close. So you're right. It was not an ATM machine situation. What else did everybody got going on? I don't know if everybody who's in here now was in here before when I was showing the engine, but if you guys want me to show anything else or you got questions about it, sneak peek, it's in the car now. So that video will be coming out soon. But happy to answer some questions there. I'll lower this tripod a little bit so it's not so weird. Got a big storm coming. Hasn't hit yet, but all these thunderstorm warnings keep popping up on my phone in the background. It's quite funny. Quite funny. Oh man. Lone Star Mini says, same here, our power just went out. Really? I doubt it's the same storm. We're got a few miles between us. But I think most storms, come from you out to our area, I think, up through the Gulf and then hit Texas and then kind of back out to the East Coast. So we might have a storm that you had a few weeks ago, or a few days ago, days probably. United States says, oh, let's see here. Oh, missed a few. Hello Storm says, what happens with the hood? What about the extra heat from the turbo? So I've got a few plans for the extra heat from the turbo. Probably gonna run a turbo blanket. I have the exhaust heat wrap that I'm going to be running on the downpipe. The manifold is going to remain naked, as it were, but the lost my train of thought now. Should be okay. I've got actual heat reflective tape and stuff on the bottom of the hood, or it's not tape, it's like a insulation. Don't know how else to explain it, but that's on the bottom side. There shouldn't be that much more heat, and probably knock on wood, but shouldn't be that much more heat. We'll see. It's a water cooled turbo, and I was able to. How do I do my finger here? There. Was able to get a bigger radiator in than I had before, which I'm very excited about. So hopefully that helps. Whoops. United States asked, does your wife like the Mini? It's kind of like in between. She doesn't hate it. But it's not a overly comfortable car, especially the earlier models like this one. This one's a 1960. The later models get progressively more comfortable and less fumey, kind of in general. And there's catches to all that, but I would say that if she likes it in small doses, she likes the fact that we get to hang out together when we're driving around. We bring it up to the mountains a lot. It doesn't have AC, so in the summer here it's hot. No way around that. Yeah. Devin says, honest thoughts about converting a classic Mini to EV, making it a really reliable daily driver. I will say this. So I don't think that EV technology is quite there yet for a full conversion. Mostly just around range, not around the reliability of electric motors, but the more things you change away from stock, kind of the original plans of something, whatever it is, the more avenues for headache and differences you're going to run into. And I'll say differences, not necessarily like problems, but just differences in things that you have to do. So like with an electric conversion, if you go down that route, you have more strain on the suspension system because it's heavier. You have the potentially more strain on the frame of the car as you're accelerating with all that extra torque. And then you have other things like I need a different subframe. I have different bushings that I need to have now. So it's all different kind of considerations. I don't think that any engine swap that you can do on a Mini is going to make it more reliable by default. You have to do a lot of work to make something more reliable. Like VTEC conversions, I've never seen one and never driven one that wasn't at least a little Frankenstein-y feeling. And I'm talking like even some of the best VTEC conversions that are out there, you still have a mechanical unit in the front of your car that is going to have problems. And that new mechanical unit, with all of the things that come with it, are going to come with their own set of problems. So that's my 2 cents. And that's not to like dissuade you from doing these things. I think that they're awesome things to do. I just, based purely on reliability, I don't think that it's enough to do an engine swap, if that makes sense. Sonny the Mini, thanks for joining, man. It's good to see you. Thank you about the garage. I'm over the moon with it. Lone Star Mini says, have you taken it to the Tail of the Dragon for a good spin? Yes, I've been to the Tail of the Dragon with the Mini a few times, actually. I think 4 or 5 times. I will say that the Tail of the Dragon is fun, but it is super, super bendy. And so that immediately sounds fun, and then all of a sudden it's 11 miles and it's like something like 211, 207 turns, something like that. I think that there are other roads in North Carolina that are a lot more fun. Mostly because the Tail of the Dragon does have a lot of people on it. 318, even more than I thought. I forgot. It's been a little while since I've been up there. It's a beautiful area, and I definitely think it's something that if you are remotely close to it, you should bring your car up there and do it. But I also think that there are some awesome places around Tail of the Dragon. There's something called the Snake, that's really fun. The Blue Ridge Parkway, which is not a super competitively bendy road, still really awesome. Hellstorm says, what about the brakes and wheels? I'm really looking forward to your first road trip. Yeah, so the brakes are 7.5 inch 4-pot calipers from Mini Sport. They are the drilled disc rotors, and I used those prior to this. I got a new set for this build because I love those brakes. They're absolutely amazing. I've never felt like I don't have enough braking power. It's always been like supremely great. It's definitely leaps and bounds above the drum brake setup. We'll see how it does with the turbo. If I start to feel like I need more braking, if I do, I'll probably pick up another Mini Sport set. I really like that R line that they have. It's just so expensive, but the R line is nice because from what I understand, they fit 10-inch wheels, so I can keep my kind of classic looking 10-inch wheels, which are a must for me, and still get that, I think it's 8.2-inch brakes, something like that, but they're slick. Elengo says, Cole, your reviews on 7 Mini's 1380 crate engine. I've not driven a car with their 1380, but I have driven 7 Mini rebuilt engines, and they are top notch. You are going to get an extremely reliable power unit built by people who have been building these for years, decades, and I honestly can't say enough good stuff about them. I personally really like the 1293 and then 1310 engine size area. That's my favorite displacements. 1380 is gonna be fun, but you start to get higher in the, you get thinner sidewalls, and then you get, kind of bigger potential for problems. I wouldn't say that there's gonna be a problem necessarily if they're gonna be the ones that are building it, but I would say that I would prefer a slightly smaller displacement. Like mine is a 1293, granted it's gonna be turbocharged, still, I really like that displacement. Devin says, any recommendations to get more power out of Nora's small little 850? There's only so much you can do with an 850, unfortunately. I would say that I don't know that they sell pistons for it anymore. Or I don't even know that they sell oversized pistons for it anymore. But if you had the engine out and we're doing like a rebuild, you could bore it out as large as an 850 goes. I don't remember what that number is off the top of my head. I do have a chart on my website, classicminidiy.com, and there's a technical section with those engine sizes. You could do that, increasing the airflow, but you're still going to kind of run into that bottleneck of just not having enough displacement for the additional air that's being delivered to the engine. Really, the 850 is a very reliable engine. I mean, it just goes and goes and goes, but it's just not very fast, unfortunately. Let's see, what else do we have here? Looks like I've caught up with the chat. There were a few coming in there for a minute. I couldn't quite keep up. Forgot my water. It's getting warm out here. What else you guys got for me? Any questions about the car, the garage, what's coming up next, anything like that? I can show you something cool. I just posted this on my Instagram. So, one thing I'm running into with my setup is that the DTA Fast, the MED, ECU, and wiring harness requires my coil pack to be sitting right up on the bulkhead of the engine, or bulkhead of the engine bay. And as a result, the leads reach far enough, but I think with my turbo piping, I'm not gonna be able to have quite enough reach on those lines. So I picked up some of my own ignition lead. They look like the old-fashioned kind of braided style, and they are definitely braided in there, but they are silicone wrapped, and then they're also your standard like high-performance silicone ignition leads. So I'm gonna make my own. I'm very excited about this. And then they're gonna run up, gonna have some long ignition leads, I think, but it's gonna be cool. Gonna be very, very cool. Definitely recommend doing something like that. There are kits out there that kind of come with all of the odds and ends that you need, but you can save a good bit of money if you pick up your own stuff. Like that is 25 feet of ignition wire. You definitely would not need that for the common regular Mini with a distributor. But those with the terminals and the crimping tool that you can get, all that stuff only cost me about 50 bucks. And that was for a lot of line. If you did 10 feet of that, you would probably, maybe 10 to 15 feet would be enough, and you could spend 30 bucks on new leads. Make them yourself, they look really cool, be custom length, all that stuff. Really, really neat. Oh, Josh, hey, it's good to see you. Any camping trips planned in the truck this summer? So, I don't know if we're gonna take any big camping trips in the truck this year, because we are going to Iceland at the end of August, and we're going to be doing a van trip. So we have rented a camper van, one of the ones that has the bed in the back and all that stuff, and we are going to drive the whole island of Iceland. So it's going to be pretty cool. Sorry, I had to pop up on my screen there. So we are going to camp from all the way around, visit all the stuff there. We've been there once in January-ish time, so it was still really snowy. Since we're going at the tail end of August, it's going to be summer, or the tail end of summer, so we're hoping that there's going to be less snow, hopefully no snow, shouldn't be, and get to see all of the kind of splendor and the greenness of Iceland. It's going to be pretty cool. Elongo says, do you have a day job? Yes, I do have a day job. YouTube does not pay the bills, does not even come close to paying the bills. I work as a web developer, like an application developer. So I build, front ends for, well, I don't want to talk too much about my actual job, but I am a web developer. And I build like JavaScript applications and things like that. United States says I have $56,000 for a new Mini, and I will give you a free real Timberwolf puppy for free. I'm sure my wife would be very happy about a new puppy, but I'm not going to be selling this Mini. I love this Mini. And there are lots out there that you can get for $56,000. A lot of really awesome ones that are complete and running. HRE says, see you soon. Have a good night, man. I have no idea how to say that properly, so I'm not even gonna try. Ali asked, does YouTube fund your Mini? No, it doesn't. I will say that between the support from my patrons and my part sponsorships, it does help. But it does definitely not cover the cost of my Mini, the repairs, more the upgrades and everything. If I was doing simply repairs, I probably could kind of break even with Minis or with YouTube, but as it stands now, no, it doesn't. It's definitely a labor of love. It's something that I enjoy doing. And I also really enjoy like helping people and sharing the things that I do know. I don't know everything. So that's something that I really like to do. Lone Star says, seeing your cable there, have you found a wonderful way to run cabling wire, keeping the engine bay clean? Yeah, I have. Hang on. So, what I use, it's kind of like a plastic mesh. You can see here, and it's kind of hard plastic mesh. I wrap my wires in this, and if we would take a walk here, whoops. I'm gonna try and make this as awkward as possible. Lord. So you can see here, this is the original loom. I also use something called Tessa tape. That is what I wrap my wires in. It makes it look a little bit nicer. And then I will wrap all of this in that kind of plasticky mesh that I was just showing you. That plasticky mesh, I don't remember what it's called, but there is a company called Design Engineering. They make exhaust wraps, but they also make the plastic, that covering, and it works really, really well. The biggest thing I will say is plan your wiring routes ahead of time. With the original wiring harness, you only have so many ways you can run it. But the new wires, things like for my lights here, external stuff, all of that can be run and planned. And running the slightly longer wire to make it look a little bit nicer is worth it, I think. Let's see here. Michael says, is it possible to install air conditioning on non-JDM Mini engine rather? I'm in Arizona and it's impossible to drive 3 months of the year. Yeah, it's pretty brutal here in North Carolina too. I feel that hardcore. Yes, it is. You will probably have to do some modifications to like your bulkhead. The blower unit, I think, sits underneath your dash, so you have to mount that up. You got to find the ways to mount that. And then your AC compressor and everything will sit kind of over here with the alternator. Yeah, here, hose. So get out of here. I think most of the Minis that had AC were MPI Minis in Japan. So the alternator on those sat up higher, and I'm fairly certain the compressor sat down here. So you do kind of have to finagle that and figure out how to do that. And then they all run off of that same belt. So yes, it's possible, but it's going to take some work for sure. United States says, thank you for being so great, amazing chat. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for joining in. All right. Jerapong says, hey, good morning from Thailand. I'm also a dev and a Mini owner, 2 things in common. I think there's some overlap in a lot of folks. I don't know if that's just like a pattern with Minis or if it's just a pattern with developers, but I like to think it's because I like to build things digitally. I also like to build things mechanically. Thanks for joining. I don't get a lot of folks from Thailand on my live streams because normally my live streams are a little bit earlier. I'm doing mine later in the afternoon, evening time. Campbell Hicks says, why did you go with the black in the engine bay? This is a question I get a lot, actually. And there's a couple things around that. So when I bought this car, one, I didn't know what I had really. This is a Mark I 1960. It's actually a very early car. But I also didn't know kind of the best practices. So I learned a lot of the stuff along the way, and some of those things I learned after the fact. A lot of the cars here in the US have a black engine bay where the rest of the shell is the rest of the body color. I have since learned that that's not the case with the Mini. So that's why it's black and then blue. I will say that long term, I do have plans. I'm starting to show some age in the car, and myself for that matter, but show some age on like the sections of the car that get a lot of abuse. It is a driven car. It is not one that just sits. It's been sitting for a while, but so as a result, it wears, and I'm definitely going to be repainting the car, probably in the next few years. And at that point, all of the stuff will come out. Any sort of rust is going to get fixed at that time, and I'm going to paint it correctly. It's not going to be the original color that it was, but I will go through and paint the whole shell the correct color, so it's all one color. And then, yeah, that should be fun. That's going to be quite a project. I hope that answered that. Yeah. Right now, what's left on here now is a Eastwood 2K aerosol. The original black paint that I did in here had been abused and beaten up over the years, and so I did repaint it black just to make sure that it didn't rust anymore or have any more problems. But yeah, live and learn, that's for sure. I just can't get over how good that carburetor looks inside here. I cannot wait. So Fusion Fabrications made me a intake manifold, a plenum here. This one right here is an ERA style one, just using for mock-up. But God, that shiny chrome dashpot with the Fusion Fab stuff. So I am gonna have a side mount intercooler or side mount turbo, and filter is probably gonna sit right about down here. Then front mount intercooler. And the way I'm planning it, and the way that I'm kind of hoping that it all gets set up, I've gone through this a few times and tried to find just the right way to do it, but goes in the intercooler from the turbo here, will come out the top and go across this area here. It seems to be a really common place to send your piping. I think that'll fit really nicely, hopefully. That'll run over here, and then it'll go into the turbo or into the carburetor up here on the top. And then of course the downpipe and everything's gonna run kind of down here. Ollie says, what does a turbo work with a carb, just bigger jets? No, so there's some differences in the way the carburetor works. Let's pop this off here and I can show you a little bit. As you can see, it was not tightly bolted on. So the turbo carbs are a little bit different. It's pretty cool. This tube right here, they have different ports drilled and tapped for a turbo carb. But basically, as your boost pressure rises from here, gets driven down into the dashpot chamber. So it helps create a pressure differential and pushes the dashpot down. So the turbo boost doesn't just fire the dashpot up the top. You can see here this little factory, this is a factory ring right here that holds the top of the dashpot like kind of together so you don't lose your plunger here. But that is one thing that's different. There are some other pipes that are closed off or just not even tapped and drilled. And then you do have a different needle. The needle is just a different quantity of fuel for the kind of amount of lift that is going on. And I'll be doing a whole video on that, like the correct needle, the correct way to tune it, polish it, bring this over here, all that stuff. I will have a whole video on that, so stay tuned for that if you're not subscribed. I think that it's gonna be really cool. And then this exhaust or intake manifold here is actually from an Innocenti Mini. But I don't know that I'm gonna be using this. I have one that is coming from a friend of mine, Turbo Cooper Sport, Steve Blakemore. Very, very nice turbo MPI Mini that he has. But he has sent me an intake manifold that should be pretty cool. Excited to show you guys that. Michael says, saw the turbo exhaust manifold on Instagram, stoked to see it all come together. Me too, man. I'm very excited about it. I have some kind of surprises around it too that will show up in the videos. I'm very excited to share with you. So excited. Alingo says, G to G. I don't remember what that means, but nice chat. Appreciate the infos. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Damn, it's almost already been an hour. Man, guys, fun to hang out with. Love talking minis. Love answering your questions. I am probably going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. So if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and post them in the chat now. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. Got lots of fun videos in store for the future here. But thank you everyone for joining in and hanging out with me this evening, my time. About 8:15. It's gonna be a good time. Ollie says, got to go, mate. It's 1 a.m. Thanks for the info. Thanks for joining, man. Have a good night. Lone Star Mini, have a great evening. Good to talk with you. Hope that the gear stuff helped you out. And if you have any other questions, shoot me a message on WhatsApp. I'm happy to help you some more. So just let me know. Ollie says, keep up the good work. Thank you. Alrighty, guys. Well, I will see you on the next video. And thanks for joining. Have a good night. Morning, whatever it is. Whatever time it is where you are.